nothing would make me happier than if I was recording an episode with both Bushwhackers. Can't really have much more of this conversation without, of course, addressing the wrestling world losing Butch in April 2023. I mean, you two had decades together, didn't you?
Yeah, Butch and me had been together since 1965, 66.
Wow, it's incredible. And how has life kind of been for you, adjusting to the loss of such a dear friend?
Oh, that was very sad, mate. You know, we tried to get him up during COVID, and that because Florida was open all the time. We closed for 6 weeks for COVID. But then from COVID onwards, we've been trying to get Butch to come. Finally, it was a close shot for him in the States to come from New Zealand to LA. It's a straight shot from Auckland to Los Angeles and that. And he came up 2 days early. Thursday night, we did a public appearance. Not a public appearance, a private signing in the hotel room. And that which we recorded on Facebook to let everybody know that he was in the country. And then the next morning, I went to wake him up. There was no noise. Kept banging on the door. In the end, we got security, and they opened the door up. He's lying there for breath.
So sad.
Rushed him to the hospital. One rushed him to hospital, and that I didn't know till later that he'd stopped breathing on the way to the hospital for a minute or so. But they brought him to, got him in hospital, and they put him to sleep, tranquilized him so to keep all of his organs in good shape. And they said they're going to bring him back on Saturday. This was Friday. They were going to bring him back on Saturday night, and they said it's a 12-hour bringing him back. And by Sunday morning, he should be normal, back talking. But he never came to on Sunday morning. And then they told me that if he lived, he'd be on machines for the rest of his life. Well, that hit me hard. And that, because he always said to me, I'd never want to be on a machine. So I had to call his wife in Wellington and his daughters up north, in the northeast coast, in Gisborne, I think, or somewhere up on the east coast, and tell them what was happening. And so they all came on at 8 o'clock that night, Sunday night, or 7:30. They all came on in Zoom to talk to him. He wasn't talking, but because he was out of it and on machines and that. But they all spoke to him, and for a half an hour, his wife and his two daughters. The two daughters were to his first wife that he was with for 22 years. 23 years. They talked to him and that, and then 8 o'clock, the Zoom went dead, and he lived for an hour, 10 minutes. I sat there for an hour, 10 minutes, took his last breath. Boy, that was the hardest part of my life, seeing him take his last breath.
Well, I mean, I've just gone through the loss of a very close friend myself, and I definitely feel your pain. I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm sure it still feels very, very, very raw.
Yes, it does. It does, mate. I'd been together with all his wives added together, all of his marriages added together. I was still with him longer than all that. You know what I mean?
And I bet he had more fun with you as well.
And everybody said he came back to the country he loved and to the guy he loved. That's what they all said. He wanted to die here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was when they said that to me. That makes me very sad.
Absolutely. And
I
think it's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, you were together for so long and you shared so much. And as you say, when you're when you're on the road, you are family, aren't you? You two were brothers, and you lived an
Yeah.
incredible life together.
He lived, we were with him every day. We traveled everywhere every day. At the start, for the first 20 years, we shared the same hotel room, you know, to 65 to say 86 or 85, and then maybe a bit less than that. But then we had apartments later on, of course, where we had our own bedrooms and that. But we were together all the time.
Well, how would you describe Butch to me? Like how what was he like? Obviously, us fans we see him
Okay,
in the ring, but what was he like away from the ring?
mate. At heart, he was a redneck. If you know what a redneck is.
Yep, yep.
At the start, when you first met him, he was a real redneck. He was playing rugby with all the boys, and that I started in 60, training in 61. He started training wrestling in the late 64, or no, 65. He started training for wrestling, and we more or less tagged up late 65 or 66. The promoter would put us in tag matches in New Zealand together.